Ella, a fast food worker, was fired simply for her act of kindness, giving a free portion of fried chicken to a hungry child. Little did she know, just hours later, an unexpected event would change her life forever. Welcome to Emotional Journeys. Today, I'm excited to share with you a touching story about kindness, sacrifice, and how life can take a sudden turn. Let's begin. Ella had always been a kind-hearted girl. Life hadn't been easy for her, but no matter how tough things got, she held on to the belief that kindness would always be rewarded. However, that belief would be tested more than ever on this very morning. As usual, Ella walked into her shift at the fast food restaurant with her usual smile. But today, her heart felt heavier. Life was pressing down on her. Her mother was gravely ill and hospitalized for a prolonged period, the medical bills kept piling up, and she was just days away from paying rent. This job wasn't what she had envisioned when she was a college student dreaming of becoming a software engineer and developing helpful applications for society. But that dream now seemed out of reach. Harsh reality had taken its place. She had to work here to survive, facing exhaustion and stress every day. "Here's your order, have a good day," Ella said, forcing a smile despite her heavy heart. The customer didn't even glance at her, lost in their phone as if she didn't exist. Ella sighed, used to this kind of treatment, and continued her work. The job didn't offer much joy, but it was her only source of income to pay for her mother's hospital bills and keep her life afloat. In the midst of her wandering thoughts about the future, a soft tapping sound came from the counter. Ella looked up and saw a little girl, about 7 or 8 years old, standing in front of her. Her face was smudged with dirt, her wide eyes filled with innocence, though her expression was tinged with an indescribable sadness. She held out a 5-cent coin, looking at Ella with hopeful eyes. The dress she wore might once have been beautiful, but now it was dusty and tattered. Ella looked at the girl, feeling a deep pang of empathy for the hunger and helplessness she might be feeling. Her heart clenched as memories of her own childhood came rushing back. She remembered the difficult days when she and her mother were homeless, with nowhere to go. The feeling of hunger, the humiliation of having nothing to eat, these were memories that Ella could never forget. Those hard years had taught her much about survival, patience, and above all, compassion. The little girl looked up at Ella, her voice gentle but full of hope. "What can I buy with this coin?" Ella knew the answer. It wasn't enough for anything on the menu. Looking into the girl's innocent eyes, a battle waged in Ella's mind. She knew the store's rules didn't allow her to give away food for free, and if caught, she would face serious trouble. But how could she turn away from such purity and need? She saw herself in the child, a child who had once experienced the pain of hunger, wishing only for a full meal. Ella se inclinó y le dio a la niña una sonrisa amable. "That's enough for a warm, delicious serving of fried chicken," she said, feeling a sense of relief as she did something good, knowing full well she was breaking the store's rules. She didn't want to crush the hope in the girl's eyes or make her feel abandoned in this harsh world. The little girl's face lit up, her joy spreading across her features. "You're an angel," she exclaimed, taking the fried chicken from Ella's hands. The radiant smile on her face and the gratitude in her eyes warmed Ella's heart. Even if her job didn't offer much joy, this one moment made it all worthwhile. She knew she had done the right thing. But Ella's happiness was short-lived. When she turned back to the counter, she saw the furious gaze of Mr. Clark, the store manager, burning into her. He stood there with his arms crossed, his expression cold and unyielding. "Did you just give away free fried chicken?" His voice was as icy as his stare. Ella tried to remain calm, but her heart raced. She knew she had broken the rules, but she couldn't bear to see that child go hungry. "Please, you can dock it from my pay. I just couldn't let the girl go without anything to eat," she pleaded, her voice shaking. Mr. Clark didn't soften. His anger only grew more apparent. "You broke the rules. That's unacceptable. You're fired, effective immediately." His words hit Ella like a punch to the gut. Losing this job meant she wouldn't be able to pay rent, nor cover her mother's medical bills. She stood there in stunned silence as tears welled up in her eyes. "Please, I really need this job. I have my mother to take care of, and I need to pay rent," she sobbed, hoping for some leniency. But Mr. Clark just turned and walked away, leaving her with a sense of despair and hopelessness. 2 hours later, Ella lay on her bed in her small, empty room, her mind swirling with uncertainty. The future seemed bleak. She had no idea what to do next. All she knew was that everything she had worked so hard to hold together had fallen apart. Then, the doorbell rang, startling her. She wondered if it was her landlord coming to demand rent. Her heart clenched at the thought of having to leave her home. When she opened the door, she didn't find the landlord. Instead, there stood a middle-aged man with a familiar face. He smiled, though his eyes shimmered with emotion. "Hello, I'm Michael Hayes, the father of the little girl you gave fried chicken to this morning," he said, his voice quivering with gratitude. "Ella se congeló, incapaz de creer lo que estaba escuchando." Michael stepped inside, sat down, and began to share his story. "I'm a single father. After losing my wife, I've been raising my daughter on my own. But work and responsibilities have driven a wedge between us. A week ago, after being too harsh and not paying attention to her feelings, she ran away." Michael's voice cracked as tears filled his eyes. "I've been searching everywhere, terrified of what could have happened to her. And then, this morning, thanks to you, I found her. Thank you, Ella. You saved my family." Ella sat in silence, her heart aching from the depth of emotion in his words. But Michael wasn't finished. "I heard you lost your job because of what you did. I'm so sorry for that. But I want to help you. I run a software company, and we're looking for a developer. If you're willing, I'd like to offer you a job at my company." Michael's words felt like a breath of fresh air in the middle of a desert. Ella could hardly believe what she was hearing. From a place of despair and hopelessness, she was now standing before an unimaginable opportunity. She took Michael's business card, tears welling up in her eyes as overwhelming gratitude filled her heart. Just then, the doorbell rang again. Standing there was the little girl, Emma, holding a white rose. "This is for you," she said, her eyes shining with hope. Ella pulled the girl into a hug, holding her close as warmth and happiness spread through her entire being. A new faith in kindness, in life's unexpected turns, became clearer than ever before. Ella had lost her job, but her act of kindness opened a new door to a life she had never imagined. Sometimes, kindness doesn't yield immediate results, but it can unlock opportunities we never knew existed. If you enjoyed this story, please hit the like button and subscribe to Emotional Journeys so you won't miss more touching stories. Leave a word in the comments to describe how this story made you feel, and see you next time.